Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
That is so funny.
We better be quiet now.
She's here. The teacher's here.
Uh-oh, the boss is here.
Oh, I've been listening to you.
Uh-oh.
He's so funny.
It was all good stuff.
Uh-oh, better stop.
It was all Kundalini Yoga and Ayurveda.
All righty then. Sounds good.
And
so
gone.
did you get all the directions for Satali Pramayam?
Right.
Cooling breath. Did you get them?
Yeah.
Yeah, which one is that? What is that called? I always forget the name of that. What is that called, Siri Gian?
Sitali, Sitali.
Sitali, that's right. Yeah, I just always forget that one. I don't know why. Probably because I don't
I've heard
do
it
it
pronounced
much.
Sitali or Satali. I've heard it all kinds of things. So.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Well,
I call
Sitali,
it breathing through the rolled
like
tongue.
Right. That's right. Not horizontal, but pointing outward, rolled.
Right. That's right. It'd be kind of hard to breathe the other way, though.
Well, yeah. Gotta be specific here. Oh, good. Well, sorry I'm late. My phone had a little jam up or something. So, who's here? I know Hargobin's here.
And Debbie.
And I think that was Sudu Simran who was asking.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Aloha. Oh, good. Oh, and Padam Dion's here? Good. And who else?
Jerry from Juneau.
Jerry from Juneau. Welcome. And who else?
Suzanne from Dallas.
Suzanne from Texas.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Welcome. And who else is here?
Sat Century from Arkansas.
Oh, Sat Century, welcome. You're home okay, huh? I am good. Good. She came to Solstice. And who else is here?
Tomas and Rahmane and Paula and Jim is in the wings.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome, everybody. You're having a Baba Siri Chand party, huh? Cool.
Well, ongoingly.
Oh, good. And who else is here?
Hadi Mandir in Phoenix.
Hadi Mandir, and who's in Phoenix?
Puranbir.
Puranbir.
Yes.
Oh, good. Welcome.
Thank you.
And who else?
Maureen is here in Homer, Alaska.
Maureen in Homer. Is that Alaska?
Yes.
Oh, good. Welcome, dear.
Thank you.
Must be nice to have summer in Alaska.
When it comes.
When it comes. Is it here yet?
It's here today. It might be gone tomorrow.
Good. Okay. And who else is here?
Carol and Juneau.
Hi, Carol and Juneau. Glad to have you. And who else is here?
Pam. I'm a friend
Pam.
Yes. I'm a friend
Pam, where are you from?
Harimandir, California.
California. And Harimandir asked you to join us?
Yes, she did.
Oh, my God. What a group leader she is.
Yes.
Welcome, Pam.
Thank you.
And who else is here? Okay. Is Lucinda here? Okay. Well, we're going to include her anyway. Okay, everybody. Let's just sit straight and begin long, deep breathing. And a long, deep breathing is from your belly and through your nose, is slow and deep. And this moves your prana, or your vital energy. Keep up and really feel your energy moving. As you do this, I'm going to talk to you. We are going to do what we call our tuning in mantra, or Adi mantra, that tunes us into what we call the golden chain of teachers. That is all of the teachers who have come before us and bring us incredible protection and wisdom. Okay, keep up the breath. And the words are Om Namo, meaning I salute, I name, I identify the totality. That is the universe as it relates to creation, or the universal as it relates to creation. And then the next part is Gurudev Namo. That means, again, I salute, I name, I identify the light, and that which separates the light from the dark. In other words, the transformation process. Okay, and then after that, we'll do another one for protection and tuning in. Okay, so now please inhale. Oh, excuse me, before you inhale, allow your focus to be at the third eye point, that is the point between the eyebrows and a little bit above, and relax. Relax your focus in your brow point. Just do that for a little bit. Relax there so that you go into a meditative consciousness. And then inhale to begin. Om Namo Gurudev Namo Om Namo Agare Namah, Jagare Namah, Sagare Namah, Siri Gurudev Namah. Agare Namah, Jagare Namah, Sagare Namah, Siri Gurudev Namah. Agare Namah, Jagare Namah, Sagare Namah, Siri Gurudev Namah. Long deep breathing. Good. Keep up the long, deep breathing. And just add one thing to it. That is, when you exhale, feel as though your exhaling breath is coming out of your heart center. That is the middle of your chest. Continue. This is called heart breath. Take note of how it feels. And if you feel something heavy there or worrisome, just keep up this breath. This is the essential healing breath. And what is actually coming out of your heart center is healing energy. Let it heal any heaviness, any smallness, any barrier that you feel. Suspend any judgment. Just do it. Good. And now, please use your intention to send this beautiful breath to each one in our class, whether we are on the phone now or if somebody is listening to the recording in the future. In this arena, there is no separation of time. So we're all doing it together. send it to one another and at the same time receive it from one another. Allowing this beautiful big ball of consciousness, of healing energy to develop as a oneness among us. Keep up heart breath. Good. As you keep up, again, we are sending this beautiful healing breath, this heart breath, to the Middle East. To the Middle East. So that they may feel the healing vibration and that they may understand, relax, understand peace and how to get there. Okay, move so closely, move so purely into that place of peace yourself as you extend it from your heart center with heart breath. And allow that peace and healing also surround and penetrate yourself as well as any intentions that you may have for healing. Please keep that up. Good. Keep it up as I talk. Now you can use heart breath anytime and all the time. When you're feeling bad or stuck or worried, please do it. Immediately go into heart breath. Go and begin your heart breath. And experiment with it. See what happens as you do it. As you heal your own self. Okay, and then also, whenever you see or find anybody in distress, whether they are next to you or whether they're on the other side of the world, please do heart breath. If you find them upset, if you find them hopeless, if you find them yelling at each other, or at you, please do heart breath. And watch what happens. It is so subtle. There's such an ease to it. But it changes. It changes the whole thing, the whole scenario, the whole person's energy. In very subtle but amazing ways. Please be the spiritual scientist and experiment with this over and over to see what happens. Remember, it comes from your meditative self, and it is your mind who remembers to do it and how to do it, but it is your meditative self that actually moves this energy. Okay, good. Keep that up. Okay, Baba Siri Chand is here, and he says he loves you. He says sometimes you tend to forget that he loves you. Sometimes you begin to feel that you're hopeless and helpless. He says, oh, my dear, he said, you are so overlooking your power, your humanity, your God self when you feel hopeless and helpless. Oh, he says, think of a situation. He says, do you have any recent situation in which you suddenly found yourself hopeless and powerless? Keep up your heart breath. And at the same time, remember that feeling of being hopeless, helpless. And as you do that, please penetrate that feeling, that identity, that experience of yourself as being hopeless, helpless, and allow this beautiful heart breath to totally penetrate it. It's the most loving, kind energy. He says, just feel this beautiful. He says, you may feel it as a powdery or as a liquid essence flowing through. He says, you know, when you see those Christmas time cartoons where those sparkly snowflakes transform things, he says, you might even think of it that way. Not making anything happen, but using your intention to allow it all to happen. Allowing is the key. Allowing is the key. Allowing is the permission that your free will gives. Did you get that? He says, allowing is the permission given by your free will to allow transformation to occur. He says, if you're holding on tight, if you're squeezing, if you are damn sure that this thing is going to happen, he says, you are cutting off. He says, you are crimping the hose. No way it can happen then. It has to do with allowing and letting the greater forces of you and the universe take over. He says it can be very scary sometimes. It can be very scary because you may feel, he says, this girl calls it the everyday self, but it is the ego, the identity, the way things have always been, and the way things, the expectations that you have that you think will keep you secure that crimp the hose. Keep up the breath, please. And relaxing. He says relaxing is the way to enter your soul space. You know you are the God self. You are the projection of the universal. You are the aspect of the universal who has agreed to come into forgetfulness of who you are. Whew, that's big. Do you understand how big that is? He says you have gone through so many lifetimes, through the forgetting, through the perpetrating, through being the victim. He says, and you are on the return lap. Keep up the breath. Keep up the breath. He said, ponder that. What does it mean to be on the return lap to remembering who you are? He says it is a consistent and constant process of allowing your everyday self, your ego, your identity, to you lay it at the feet of your soul self. That is what people call the higher self, your infinite self. It is a matter of letting go by the everyday self to trust that the infinite self is working things through on a much higher level. Keep up the breath. that in fact is the greatest good for you. He says, after all, your soul is helping you remember if you take it up. If you take it up on its offer. He says we hang on to expecting what we want, what we think we need in order to become secure. He says, we've talked about this before. He says, but in fact, when you demand what will make you secure, you miss the lesson. You miss the ability, you miss the chance to let go and let God. You miss the chance to move into humility, to allow the infinite to take over the transformation process. He says, my dears, it is a very good thing, he says, to go through your life and to enumerate what you would like to see happen, what you feel will fulfill your longing, whether that is abundance, whether that is finding true love first within yourself, for your God self, that will draw community to you. Whatever it is, you may enumerate that. But then, this is where the separation occurs. He says, between mice and men. He says, if you go the way of what was called the secret, and that is demanding your outcome the way you see it, of putting your own hurt, your own debility at center stage, you will only retain your own hurt and your own debility. If, however, you trust that the universe, the infinity, has heard you, that Mother Planet has heard you, and is working on your behalf for your greatness, he says, then you trust what comes. You trust what comes. He says what comes may be huge challenges. He says, oh, my dears, but those huge challenges are actually opportunities to heal your short-sightedness. Those are opportunities to heal your short-sightedness. That which keeps you small. That which keeps you buried in your own difficulty. Giving over and flowing with the challenges, learning the lessons, letting the pain and the hurt come up as you give them over in meditation, through mantra, through your sadhana, through your heart breath. He says, oh, my dears, those are the challenges that are bringing you the greatest opportunity to open yourself. Remember, we talked about the light, which changes the darkness to light. That's what we're talking about. Gurudev Namo. Gurudev Namo. It's trusting it. Keep up the breath. Now, he says to tell you that Yogi Bhajan said that the spiritual path is about changing your identity. Imagine that. The spiritual path is changing your identity. What he's talking about is your true identity, what we call your Sat Nam. Your true identity is your soul. You as soul. You as your essence. And then you allow your, how can we say, yours more, your shortened, your smaller identity, your earthly identity is the everyday self. He says, you need that. That is so precious. But here's the thing. He says, who has control? Who has control of your mind? Who has control of your actions? So you see, my dears, what you are doing is you are melting, consciously melting your everyday self's need to be in control and allowing it to clear up the triggers that make it feel it needs to be in control in order to protect you, to project you, and to promote you, and give up that control to your true identity, your Sat Nam, that is the very subtle but most powerful wisdom, interaction, guidance from your soul to become paramount as the everyday self serves the soul, totally confident that the soul knows what's best for you, and humbly but powerfully projecting soul, carrying out soul's messages, soul's guidance. Keep up the breath. He says that does not mean walking around like a bunch of pious monks and nuns. He says if you let your soul come forward, you will find out how raucous it is, what a sense of humor it has, what sensitivity it has, and what subtle power it has. It's not the power. Generally, it's not the power that will bowl you over or fill your chest with pride and control. It's not that power. It's just being grounded. It is a potential that you know is there. There's no question of strength. There's no question of no strength. You simply are. You reside in the Sat Nam, identity of truth, your true self. Keep up your breath. He says, now, please go back to that event that made you feel hopeless and helpless. If it's still there, it's lodged in your everyday self, where the triggers and the records reside. Using your heart breath, using your sweet heart breath, allow it to penetrate that hopelessness, that helplessness, that victimization. Just use your heart breath to penetrate that feeling. As you do, let the difficult emotion, let the energy of that difficult emotion, let it evaporate like steam or like smoke. Allow it to free up and move into that soul vibration. It says, keep it up. I will facilitate it as long as your free will gives permission to do this by allowing. Keep it up, please. That's it. Let it come. You may feel it coming out of your someplace in your body. It may come out of your heart, may come out of your solar plexus. Let it just evaporate. Evaporate into the oneness, where it is actually cherished and transformed. Now, he's funny. He's making these Christmas, alluding to all these Christmas ideas. He says, now, where that difficult energy he says you may even envision it as the elves in Santa's workshop who are doing the transforming, who are doing the recycling. He says, let us have that raw material of your difficult energy. He says, don't hold back. He says, how can we do our work if we don't get all of the raw material? Please let it all, its total roots. It may be rooted in feelings of being pressured or being abandoned by one or both of your parents, by your siblings. It may be even deeper, from places unknown from past lifetimes. It may even be from your ancestors, feeling guilt and shame, whatever it is. Let it evaporate and be sent to your soul's workshop, to those little elves who are taking that raw energy and changing it. He says, of course, it's a much more sophisticated process. He says, but what fun it is to imagine little elves working on it. That's it. Keep up your breath. Keep up the flow. And let this flow reach right down to its very roots. Make your heart breath powerful, please. Very conscious. Very conscious. Still in a very deep meditative state. Blessing all of those involved. Blessing them. Can you imagine? You are not fighting them anymore. You are blessing them for bringing you this opportunity for transformation. Blessing everyone. Keep up the heart breath. Give up resistance. Let go revenge. Let go need to continue the hurt for your own identity. Let yourself forgive, knowing that the forgiving is not saying it's okay, but rather the forgiving is to allow that hurt to dissolve from your own depth of consciousness. You're allowing that trigger to dissolve, allowing that broken record of pain, of hurt, abandonment, letting it dissolve. Giving it to those little elves in their workshop. He says that is the fantasy representation of giving it to the God, or to the total energies of healing and transformation. As an offering, as your humble offering, because they love it. They love it. Good. He says, now keep up that breath and really allow yourself to open up to abandon, to freedom. To freedom. This breath of life is freedom. Understanding that those little elves, or what you might say is Mother Planet, Adi Shakti, the God of you, has taken all that difficulty, all of that trash, reassembled it, and brought it back to you as wisdom. Reassembled all of that information, all of that knowledge, that whole belief system, they have reassembled it, recycled it as your incredible bank of wisdom. Just breathe with that and be grateful. Be grateful. And they have also restructured your energetic system to heal not only yourself in this category, but also to be able to extend healing to others who are still muddled and having difficulty in this area. You become a gift to humanity.
Have enough time to run to the bathroom?
Feel it, know it. Feel the blessing of it. As you do this, do you see that you have transformed your identity? You are transforming your identity from the one that feels small, annoyed, trapped, and let it go for recycling. And let it come back to you. Okay, now I just want to say, this is an aside, if there is any noise in your background, we can hear it. Okay? Any noise in your background, we can hear it. So please mute yourself by pressing *6. *6, so we can't hear what's happening in your background. Thank you. Keep up the blessing. Keep up the breath. And being grateful. And let that spread all through your whole body. It's a true consciousness. Let it seep into every cell of your body, like water seeping into the desert floor, purely nourishing, giving life. Let it seep into every bit of your consciousness, every bit of your psyche, enlivening you and giving you freedom and peace and total beautiful expansion. Rest in it. Rest and expand. He says, this is the real you. This is your Sat Nam. You no longer have to be puzzled by that word, Sat Nam. You know what it is, and you will continue building on that. He says, I'm sure that all of you have done that before. He said, I just want you to be very conscious of it as you move forward in this Aquarian time. Be who you are. Know who you are. Have fun with it. Opening. Good. And now becoming aware of what you have felt, how you have transformed. What has occurred to you? He says, what's your experience? He says, we need for you to share your experience so it becomes real not only to you, but as humans we need to listen to each other about this transformation to actually believe it. We need to affirm it, that it is real. He says, okay, who can start us off? He says, I'm poking a few ribs. He says, be aware and step up. Who can share? Okay, he says to call on Jerry from Juneau. Will you share with us, please, dear?
Yeah, okay. I was just... Yeah, exactly. 'Cause I was like, oh, my gosh. Because I do have something I can relate to about the hose and trying to force things. So I've been, looking for a new job, and at the beginning of my search, there was this, organization that I was looking at, but they didn't have any room, for me, and so.
What do you mean? What kind of organization?
It's just a nonprofit organization that didn't have, money to hire me or a position. And so I just, left that alone. And so I've applied for like 20 some jobs, in the last 2 months, and then really try to force 2 of them to happen, but they didn't happen. And so within this last, couple, so I just let this one job go because it wasn't going to work out. And then the next day, because I said, exactly, let go and let God. And so I just said, because I was feeling very hurt and desperate. And I said, I just need to clear all that. I took a day off. And then yesterday afternoon, my friend her and I were just talking on the phone. And, and she says, oh, yeah, so-and-so just left that job at, this organization that I was looking at. And she goes, I saw it on Facebook. She's no longer there. So although that I haven't applied yet, but I'm going to, but this job just kind of magically appeared after I kind of let everything go, as I was really, my high expectations of getting these other jobs and really forcing the issue and pushing people. But in the meantime, I cleared through, a whole lot of, a variety of issues in between. And I just feel like I'm at my best now, that I can finally, this is what I do want. Whereas I was chasing
you
stuff.
Want peace.
Yeah, exactly. And it just magically happened. So I kind of,
right?
Pardon me?
Santa's workshop.
Yes. So I'll keep everybody posted whether this position comes through, but at least now it's going to be available. There is now room, and I may be filling it.
Okay, so you see how it happens. As you allow the elements or the pieces of the puzzle to readjust, right?
Exactly, that's what it was doing, and it, because yesterday I told myself, this ain't happening to me, it's happening for me, and I said something better is around the corner, and then boom, the next day my friend says, oh yeah, we're just talking. We weren't even talking about a job or anything. She just brought it up, and I says, click. So
that is a miracle of life when you live from soul. You just live on the miracle of it. Jerry, would you mind sharing what some of those old issues were?
You mean clearing through?
Yeah.
Well, one was in the past 6 months, I've been clearing through a lot of old friendships and toxic, people, all these. So I really went through, had to step away from several people, and this one job that I thought I was going to, that I was working on to get was with an old friend of mine, and although her and I haven't had direct issues, I opened my eyes to who she is, which is, I'm not criticizing her or anything, but it's just not working for me right now in my life. And even though I cleared through some of these issues with some people, and I kind of just, everything just kind of died on the vine, during this process the last 2 months, and those issues got cleared up were my relationships with certain people, and now I finally says, yesterday I just out of nowhere these thoughts come into my mind and says, I'm done with that, and I'm done with that, so I'm ready to move on.
Oh, how wonderful! And you can do heart breaths for them as well to give them sort of a part of
I have been, and I'm just thankful. They taught me so many lessons. They taught me to, see things in me that I needed to change, and, it's all a win-win situation. I don't have any kind of ill feelings. I just says, it happened for me, and I'm thankful that although it was painful, for a couple days, with no job and no nothing, but I says, everything's just been coming through for me, and so, yeah, I just feel like I've really stepped over the line somewhere that I'm just letting letting all that go. So once I let go and didn't have those expectations and how things were going to play out, but this job that I'm going to be looking at, or I'm going to give them a cold call, is just perfect of everything that I want, all the elements, the type of organization, what they do, the kind of people they work with, the kind of work that I want to do. So.
Oh, yeah. Wonderful. Now, be sure when you call them, be grateful for the opportunity, but don't get into expectations again.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's perfect. I need this. This is for me. No, you say, this is wonderful to contact all of these things, and I'm here. I am present. I am ready to serve, but don't have a feeling of you have to give this job to me. Don't go back into that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's what I've learned. It's flowing, and the people can also feel that too. So you just leave it. You leave it up to the masters. Isn't it fun? Yes. Yeah, because at first I was like, okay, writing things, writing my wishes or my intentions down. I said, I want this particular job with this. I listed all the names and everything, and da-da-da-da-da. Whereas now it's just, I'm just asking for the right situation for me.
Oh, perfect.
Wherever that's
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, you can be more specific, but the question is, do you leave it at the feet of the infinite, or do you try to control it? In other words, crimp the hose. Do you see the difference?
I try to. Yes. I'm just this time. Lesson I learned in the last couple months is just not to crimp that hose and just let it go.
Good for you. I'm so happy for you, dear. Baba Siri Chand is too. He's dancing with you, as a matter of fact. Kind of like the way kids hold hands and dance around. He's kind of like that with you. He says,
I just have learned a lot. Yeah, I've learned a lot of lessons in the last couple months. I feel like I've grown up. That's how
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, but it's not like, I am now have to be over responsible. It's like, it's kind of fun to be here. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I stepped over a line somewhere in the last couple of days. I'm on a different, I don't want to say wavelength, but you know what I mean. I feel like I've just learned lessons, and I've let them go. Say, okay, now I'm ready for something new and exciting.
How wonderful. I'm so happy for you, dear. So
it really, I've learned a lot.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing so generously with us.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Thank you.
I beg your pardon?
I said thank you for calling you and.
Okay, it was Baba Siri Chand. He says, call on her. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
So, who else would like to share?
Siri Gian?
Yes, Rahmane?
Yeah. Hi.
Yes, dear. Hi.
I feel inspired to share something that came up for me during the meditation, and it was in sync with my studies into what I call spiritual dumpster diving into Christianity to find out how it could be that the word that somehow this concept that Baba Siri Chand was talking about seeking true balance, how it could have been derailed from us. How come we didn't learn that was a really important term, and the word in Aramaic that Rabbi Yeshua, Jesus, used for 2 out of the 10 Beatitudes about this very subject. So it's 1/5 of the material covered in the Beatitudes is kanuta, and it was translated righteousness through the Greek and the Latin and the German and the English, which is kind of a vague metaphysical term. But in Aramaic, it refers to this sense of inner right relationship between the different voices we sometimes feel within, as well as the reflection of those voices in society. So it's a part of us, both inner and outer, that seeks justice and balance and a basis of life that works, that is restful and yet creative, and that by calling it righteousness, it made it something kind of not very appealing, like pious people running around with their nose in the air and not connecting. Yeah, self-righteousness, exactly. So by weaving this theme in, it tuned me into what Yeshua says, that if you're longing for this inner balance, for this inner justice, this inner sense of right relationship, both on the inner and in society, then you will realize that everything you need is right here, and you'll be embraced by the birthing power of the universe. So it was just another voice, and it helps me to realize that actually the teachings have been there all along. They just got kind of covered over by what I'm now calling holy scrap, where we lost sight of the vision, but it's right there for us. And and one of Tomas's renderings from one of these Beatitudes is, affliction's residue conceals a gift, which heals us of indifference to another's struggle with inequity, transmuting persecution into empathetic tenderness. I'll try that again. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
How wonderful.
Using the same term, he says, reimburse your hunger and thirst for mutual worth through dispersing fears and nurturing wondrous trust. Those are his rewrites of the Beatitudes. Yeah.
That sums it up. He always does that, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
That's great. That's great. Well, you know, what you're talking about, what you're calling balance, is also what I call partnership between soul and everyday self, the cleared out, humbled everyday self. Partnership, working together.
Yes. Yes, that to me is another way of saying the covenant that our Jewish ancestors have been talking about for 4,000 years.
But which few people understand.
Yeah, hopefully more and more. Yeah, it's coming. That remembrance. Good. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, and also, Guru Nanak wrote in Japji, you know, there are a number of verses called Suniya that start with that. It means listening. Listening. If you have access to that incredible prayer or poem, please read that. Listening, and everything will come to you. Everything will come to you. And then the next several verses start with Mane, which means following or trusting what you hear. So that describes a partnership right there. Okay. So now we are kind of at the end, and we appreciate, Baba Siri Chand says, we appreciate everybody's involvement, everybody's participation. He says you all have gone through a process now. He says be grateful for it and keep it up. He says he's so glad that you are beginning, well, more than beginning, but you are immersing yourself in this habit of transformation and partnership, and he's grateful to you for that. He says, because in doing it in yourself, he says, understand that you are feeding that process, that vibration, into the whole earthly web. Understand what you're doing. This is how you this is how you raise the consciousness and how you become who you really are. Okay. So God bless you all. Being grateful for who you are. Now, inhale and sing this beautiful song to each other and receive it from one another. Oh, I'm sorry. Inhale again. May the lifetime sun shine upon you. All love surround you. And the light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Inhale. And bow to your beautiful infinity, your soul, your consciousness, your Sat Nam. Bless you all. Bye-bye. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam.